Set this up a bit. Just woke up from a nap. Um, just thinking about all the stuff that I still have to do. I'll wait a few minutes for people to come in. I'm trying to get this to where
Is someone already?
no,
So why are you talking so slow?
I have to. There's people coming in. Like they're gonna see it after.
Oh, okay.
What?
I just okay.
Yeah, it's kind of cold outside and it's getting late. Sun's going down, so I wasn't gonna go outside. If I was doing this earlier, I would have went to the park. Shalom, Yah's universe. May peace be with you. Wait like one more minute, and then we'll begin. Today we're talking about I guess the ego a little bit. That's such a big topic. We might talk about that for a few weeks until I finish the chart for the Holy Watchers. So yeah, it's taming the ego is a lifelong journey, and it's one of the hardest things to do. Shabbat shalom. Hey, what's going on, sister? Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Uh, I've my 100% alpaca wool garments came. They are so beautiful and so warm. Best money I've ever spent. I don't know all those words that you said, bro, but I appreciate you. But let's begin now, because this is not gonna be like a long live stream and stuff. From ego to heart. And by the way, we are in Jeshua channelings today. Yeah, bless you, brother and sister. Okay, as you as well. Thank you, thank you. So we're in Jeshua channelings, and we're on page 69. From ego to heart, number one. Four stages in the transformation of consciousness. In the previous chapters, we have described the historical background of the Lightworker's journey from ego-based to heart-based consciousness. This part will be dedicated entirely to the psychological characteristics of this transformation. We have divided up this process into four steps or stages, which we sum up again for the sake of charity. 1. Being unsatisfied by what ego-based consciousness has to offer you. Longing for something else, the beginning of the end. 2. Becoming aware of your ties to ego-based consciousness, recognizing and releasing the emotions and thoughts that go with it, the middle of the end. Letting the old ego-based energies inside you die, throwing off the cocoon, becoming your new self, which is the end of the end. And finally, 4, the awakening of a heart-based consciousness within you, motivated by love and freedom, helping others make the transition. Hey, sis, do you mind bringing the candle over here? And do you mind holding it for me?
I don't mind, but I gotta pee.
Okay.
I'll pee.
Just you could bring the candle still. I'll just hold it.
And then I pee, and then I come back.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. Stage 1. The ego does not fulfill anymore. The transition from ego-based consciousness to heart-based consciousness starts with the experience of an inner void. Things that used to draw your full attention or situations that got you completely caught up in now leave you empty or uninspired. Somehow things seem to have lost their usual meaning and purpose. Before this void is experienced, consciousness is in the grip of fear and the ensuing need to constantly reaffirm itself. It is continually looking for for outside validation because it is unwilling to face the underlying fear of rejection and loneliness. And this is pretty much in a nutshell what the ego is. I'm going to read it again. It is continually looking for outside validation because it is unwilling to face the underlying fear of rejection and loneliness. Everyone, uh, everyone looks for some sort of validation from other people in some sort of way. You know, even looking in a certain way, carrying yourself in a certain way. Everyone seeks validation, and to a certain extent, it's okay to seek validation. From other people. Like, we do things to seek validation from the opposite sex. You know, to a certain extent, there's nothing wrong with it, but people could take it to an extreme, right? To where it's constantly at, uh, how should I say this? It's at odds with our self-esteem, and that's when it becomes detrimental. Let me just keep reading. This deep fear and the need for outside validation may long to be hidden as the true motive for many of your actions. So many of the things that we do, they're usually going to be hidden. As far as the reasoning, the reasoning for why we do or say certain things, we don't want to admit to ourselves that the reason why we do it is just because we're afraid of being lonely. We're afraid of uh, looking in a certain way to other people, and this is what self love is all about. If you can pretty much say, "I'm gonna be okay," whether I go outside and I look 100% or not. If you're okay with either or and you don't care what people think, that's a step in the right direction. And we live in a society where people, they care a lot about appearances, about the outside, and things without substance, and it has this chasing after this image. And this is just one source of the ego. The ego can be many things. I'll give you an example of some ego that I might struggle with. I don't like to feel disrespected, and I'll go out of my way to make sure that I'm not disrespected. I will disrespect you because you've disrespected me. And while I don't see that as being unfair, that's not necessarily beneficial to me, right? Just the other day, I ripped, that girl a new one because she was being disrespectful to me, in my opinion. So I was like, okay, well, you want to get disrespectful? I'll get disrespectful, right? And that's kind of how I get myself in trouble. And again, it's not because I actually think I'm wrong. I think I get in trouble because it's not worth my time. It's not worth my energy. I have such bad lighting, man. I gotta fix this phone. Khan, world wants us to boast in uh, raiment, thus attaching our inner value slash soul on how others view us. Indeed, you might have to hold it to the book. That works. Thank you. Yeah, it's very true. We attach it, and that's just one example. Clothes is just one example. It really does go to anything. Um, you we can have an ego when it comes to uh our weaknesses. Let's say now you're kind of blocking my light now. Um, hold on. I think that works better. So if I'm a person who's been told that I have a short temper, right? And someone says, "Oh, like look at you with a short fuse again." Now, someone without an ego is going to say, "Okay, well, let me see. In that situation, was I having a short fuse?" And they actually think about the situation, right? But a person with an ego, they'll automatically get defensive because they've heard it before, and they don't want to hear it again, right? That's kind of how we get ourselves in trouble because that kind of stops us from growing. And the Book of Remembrance, it even says that we're supposed to be able to take reproval in every way that it comes. In order for us to do that, we can't have an ego. You see, another example I'll give you, when Aki and Typhera and their group, when they were coming to the promised land over here, right before they were crossing over from Asia, their group, they reached this certain amount of self-enlightenment where nothing could really affect them, right? And they were able to do that because Samihaza was not able to get into any of their hearts. He wasn't able to get into any of their hearts because they all felt very secure within themselves. They did not have an ego. None of them said, well, how come Aki gets all this power? How come Typhera gets this? How come she gets that? Why don't I have this? That's ego. If you have no ego, then Satan cannot get in your heart. There's no opening for him. So in actuality, while Satan does exist, he is a true entity, he is a true spirit, he is a bad guy. But everyone lets him in with their ego. So once we tame the ego, we tame everything else. And it's literally probably the hardest thing that you can tame, because that is what all these books are pretty much telling you in a nutshell, is to tame your ego. When it talks about insecurities, insecurity comes from ego, right? A lack of humility comes from ego, and so on and so forth. Let's continue. I need some more light. Thank you. Let me see. Oh, shalom, beloved family, worldwide. May the Most High Anoka said, keep you all in his peace this day. Thank you for stopping by, bro, as always. Let me see. Your whole life may be built upon them, meaning your deep insecurities and your need for validation, without you being consciously aware of it. Perhaps you are aware of a vague restlessness or tension within, but often a major event, such as the breakup of a relationship, the passing of a loved one, or the loss of a job, has come along to invite you to truly examine what this tension or unrest is about. You know, and certain things, they trigger like these deep insecurities and need for validation, or they'll trigger you to go down this whole path that you don't need to go down. And what I mean by that, I'll give you another example. Let's say, you're a young man and you've had your first experience with women, right? With a little, whatever, quote unquote, girlfriend, whatever the world, terms these things these days. So you have that, right? Now this girl that you were with, she was really, verbally abusive, and I don't know, bro. She talked about your weight a lot, right? Now you are constantly worrying about your weight, and you can't even remember why, when it actually came from that event that happened long ago. And this is why it's also very important to keep your innocence, because an innocent mindset is pretty much what stops from building an ego. If you keep yourself innocent and you just take every event as a separate occurrence, then you can't really build an ego. Like, if you are strong enough to say, all right, that's just her opinion, then you're going to be okay, right? We got to let go of our ego, which is our carnal man or woman, to the Most High, and be in tune to our true selves, that is the spirit, which is aligned to the Heavenly Father. Anoka said, couldn't have said it better myself, man. Could not have said it better myself. But the only thing is that it's easier said than done, because that is one hell of a feat, is to conquer the ego. It truly is. It's not an easy task. This stuff is simple. Life is simple, but it's hard. That's kind of how it goes. It's simple because the rules are simple, but it's hard to do. It's kind of hard to read from that. So I'm gonna have to. All right, I'm fine. I'm fine. Having a flight. Thank you. When the ego is the center of your being, your consciousness and your emotional life are in a state of cramp. You cringe in fear, and from that position, you are constantly on the defensive. When you're in the ego stage, you always experience lack, a need for more. Where are you going?
Why was you gonna put this candle back there?
No,
Oh,
I,
you said you have enough light.
no, I meant I don't need to like stretch over there for the light, but I still need the light.
Okay.
Um, Damn, you made me lose my spot. Um, Let me just read this again. You cringe in fear, and from that position, you are constantly on the defensive. When you're in the ego stage, you always experience lack, a need for more. This is what I just explained, right? When you're in the ego stage, you're constantly on the defensive. You're constantly looking for no one to hurt you in that spot again where you got hurt before. There's no way to live. You need to just live, you know. There's no way to live. The foundation of your thoughts, feelings, and actions is a black hole, a void which can never be filled completely. It is a hole of fear, a place covered in shadows, since you turn your consciousness away from it. You see that? It's just a wound that you're just not healing. And instead of going over and pretty much healing it, fixing it, you're just covering it. You're hiding it. Again, there's no way to live. Because as soon as someone brings it up, you're gonna snap on them. Again, there's no way to live. There should be nothing that someone should be able to say to that offends you. And I'm not trying to come off as a hypocrite because again, everyone has some sort of ego, right? If you were to say certain things to me, like, you know, you know what it is? All right, I'll give you another example with me. I will work hours on videos, on information. People don't know what happens behind the scenes. That, I'm at work, I'm working two jobs and I'm making videos, right? I work very hard to do that for free, and then people come on my channel cursing me out. Now my ego is pretty much saying, who the F does this person think you like they are? Like, seriously? You're a dog to me. And I'm thinking all these different things, like, don't you know who I am? That's all my ego. It doesn't matter how right I am. Obviously, that's a spot of sensitivity to me. So I'm going to react in a certain way because I've not trained my ego. So that's something that I've actually been praying about, because I'm trying to not care about anything. I'm trying to be like, you can't trigger me at all. That's the type of level that I'm trying to be at. So that's why I feel the need to start talking about this, because it's not something I've talked about, and there's something I need to conquer. Shalom, everyone. Thank you for stopping by, brother. Calm, brother Unifier. Indeed, indeed. Let's continue. In the shadows, there is a void which you are vaguely aware of, but you don't want to go there. In this stage, your relationship with the Almighty is marked by feelings of separation. Deep within you, you feel alone and abandoned, and it's because you almost feel like the Most High hasn't helped you in that situation, right? You almost feel like he's abandoned you, and you don't want to go back and take responsibility for it, right? Everyone's been there. This is where all of it comes from, because it's almost like you're like a child and you feel abandoned by your father. Like, let's say you got beat up at school and you're just thinking, well, where was daddy, right? Instead of just taking responsibility for it and just saying, well, I was in a position of vulnerability. I'm at school, right? This stuff can happen. It is what it is. Let me just move on. That's really how we should be thinking. It's hard to do. I'm not saying it's easy, bro. It's very hard to do. Where you feel like you could depend on an entity for everything, and then something evil happens to you, it's traumatic. It's traumatic. But we live in a world of wickedness. The answer is our first parents sinned. This world was not supposed to be this way. The reason why the world is like this, to where the righteous can go to school like You can go to school and get beat up. It's because of our first parents. They sinned, and we have to suck it up for them. That's just how it is. We have to take responsibility for their action. That's not the Most High. That's us. So anything bad that happens to us has nothing to do with Him. That has to do ultimately with the first parents, right? And what they did. When we constantly think that way, nothing really would be able to bother us. If I feel that upset about women disrespecting my manhood, right? Saying whatever they thinking that they can say whatever they want to me, well then I need to look back and say, okay, well, look what our first parents did. That led to this, that led to this, that led to this, and now we're here. Look at what the nation of Israel did. That led to this, that led to this. It even says in the scriptures, oh, like women rule over them. Forgot where it says in Isaiah. One of you guys can let me know where it says that. And now we're here, right? We're destroyed as a nation. Gentiles also made sure that they put that in our family system. So I can't blame anyone but ourselves. We have to take responsibility for that, right? I know this, but you forget these things, right? When you're upset. You forget these things when you're upset. We don't think critically when we're upset. So, but if we're able to tame the ego, then we won't need to think about it because it won't even trigger us, right? That's the beauty. So let's continue. Deep within, you feel alone and abandoned. You feel like you are a broken, meaningless fragment with no purpose. And as you cover up your fear of this, you only experience it indirectly as a shadow. People are terrified of facing the inner world with full awareness. They are terrified of meeting their inner darkness head on and investigating it. However, if you feel if you don't face it, it is still there, and you will need to develop coping strategies to make life bearable. And that's really all that we end up doing. All we do is just put a band-aid on it, and then we start doing these weird behaviors, right? For example, I just got examples for days. My grandfather is very anxious. He gets very anxious about everything. And that high amount of anxiety probably comes from his upbringing in the South, where he's constantly on the run. If you don't make the utmost plans and, do things ahead, like he doesn't like to feel vulnerable. That comes from somewhere. And now he's coping with it by making everyone else feel uncomfortable. And that's just how it is, you know. Me, I keep repeating or re-eating my vomit regarding my relationship. Hey man, we've all been there, bro. We've all been there. You know, I haven't been there with a woman, but I have been with my relationships with people. So I understand that I've gone back to people who I really shouldn't have gone back to. I've been there. So if you want, I could definitely pray for you. Um, and you can pray for me as well. Let me see. The ego strategy is always to deal with the problem at the periphery instead of at the center. The ego seeks to solve the problem by turning your consciousness outward. Yeah, because the ego, it doesn't like to feel vulnerable. It wants to feel like it's in control, right? It wants to feel like it's in power. It's insecure because it's Satan, right? Pretty much this is how it works. You have some sort of insecurity that's built up because of some sort of event that's taken place in your life. So now you have like an open wound. And the ego is pretty much the spirit of Semihaza that comes in and fills up that hole. Burrows itself real deep. It's really small. It's not that big. And it pretty much influences you to go in certain ways. And then it powers you with fear. It tells you, well, you remember what happened last time. right? Well, don't do that. You remember what happened last time. It's a constant fear tactic that he's employing upon you now that he has burrowed himself in you like a little parasite. So let's continue. It tries to alleviate the inner pain by feeding you with outside energies. The energies it is particularly fond of are acknowledgement, admiration, power, attention, etc. In this way, the ego seemingly creates an answer to the soul's deep longing for oneness, safety, and love. So it looks for love in pretty much in the outside, from the outside. It doesn't try to gain it from within. And as we've gone over in this book before, it pretty much talks about how we have all this stuff already, right? If we have a problem with ourselves, we already had the answer when we came here from the spirit realm as children, right? We already had the answer. The only thing that we do here in life is pretty much get more polluted. We're trying to relearn how to be like children, how to think like how they think in the spirit realm. That's all we're really trying to do. So if we have some sort of issue, we already have the answer. And that's what we kind of have to do, man. We have to refine the answer, rekindle the past and what happened, what changed us, right? What took away that spark in your eye? What is what is making you move in fear all the time? You have to go back and you have to re-examine yourself. Why do you feel so afraid of everything? What's up, brother? Shalom to all, peace and blessings. Thank you for stopping by, bro. One love. Let's continue. This longing in itself is entirely valid and genuine. It is God calling you. It is your own nature calling out to you. You are God. God is the energy of oneness, safety, and love. Well, I don't necessarily, I see what she's trying to say, but I mean, she's right. She's right. She's right. I just wouldn't have phrased it in that way. Because while all this is what you need in your soul, you do need oneness, you do need safety, and you do need love. You're looking for it in the wrong place if you're doing it from the outside. And what you do is instead of becoming a light, shining forth, breaking forth, you become a vacuum and you suck everyone else's light, and it's never enough for you. You take someone else's light and you still want more. And then you're upset with that person because they didn't fill up your stomach. You become a parasite, you become a narcissist. So I kind of understand what she's saying, but how she phrased it was weird. I just want to say, when you're being sealed, your pineal gland is fully active. You will change your life and become a new childlike person. Hmm. When you're being sealed, are you talking about like what it talks about in Revelation and in another part in the Apocrypha, I think in Ezra, that sort of sealing, like 144 sealing? I mean, whether that's the case or not, I still think that we should do pretty much our own work. We need to work on ourselves, you know. Divine perspective, we are everything and live to retain it. From the world's perspective, we are born as nothing and must become something. Exactly. Oh, you couldn't have said, I couldn't have said that better myself. That was really nice. I followed the Tanakh, yes, sir. Okay, okay. Everything, because I do read all these scriptures, you know, old, new, lost books, whatever I can get my hands on. I use the spirit, my inner Ka, to sift through what is right and what is wrong. I try to build up logical structures and say, well, if this contradicts with this, what am I going to take? I pray about certain things. I have a certain process to how I study, right? Um, let me continue. Everyone longs for the unconditional love and embrace of the energy you call God. In essence, this longing is the longing for being totally aware of, and therefore one with, your own divine self. Your own divinity is your entrance to unconditional love. You can only find it by going through the fear and darkness surrounding it. And this you do by turning inward instead of outward. You do it by using your consciousness as a light that chases the shadows away. Consciousness is light. Therefore it does not need to fight darkness. It is mere presence in its mere presence dissolves it. By turning your consciousness inward, miracles will indeed befall you. And when you've taken someone else's light, you know, all the energy that you put out is what you get back, right? So if you're constantly taking uh people's stuff, then your soul, your light is going to get snatched, right? So you must learn how to reverse this cycle of constantly taking from other people, right? You must reverse it and start to push outward. I praise the Most High for the information you share because we don't have access to it here in the Arctic. Wow, wow. I'm 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 touched, bro. And people told me that before. You know, a sister from Nigeria, she told me that like she doesn't have access to most of the books that I make PDFs of, and I'm gonna start making PDFs again. I have a lot of books uh, that I just ordered, and I still have a lot of books that I still have to make PDFs of. So I'll be doing that once more. I also saw your Haplogoose video. Don't believe that crap. It's pseudoscience. Judge the spirit. People have been mixing for a long time. You have had nearly 500 grandparents since then. This is what I try to tell people. The only reason why I even get into that stuff, um, one, I do it so I can dispel bad arguments and doctrine. I don't like assumptions, right? I don't like assumptions. I kind of have that Robin Hood mindset, steal from the needy. I mean, what? Steal from the rich, give to the needy. I have that sort of mindset. That could be a good thing or a bad thing, you know. So that's why I do certain things and say certain things. I just like going against the grain. I like pissing people off. I'm just that type of person, I guess. They can only trace back 1% of the timeline. It's useless. Well, I want to say it's useless if it's 1%. 1% still 1%, but that's pretty good. Wow, how did you even figure that out? It's 1%. That's crazy. No, but that actually makes me not like take it even like less seriously. You know, you got to judge by the spirit, bro. You got to judge by the spirit. But also another reason why I use it is because people they use it in place of the spirit, and I'm showing them, okay, well, even by your own usages, you can't use it to figure out who people are. That don't make sense. You know. Um, interview with Ged Match owner. Oh, you did an interview with him. That's fire, bro. 1%? What? Wow. And people are making whole doctrines off of this, bro. That's crazy. That's rough, bro. All right, let's continue. I need some more light. Are we running out of light? Why is flame so low?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Ramaya is low. All right, let's continue. The ego, however, proceeds in exactly the opposite way. It registers the need for love and safety, but it aims at answering this need without facing inner darkness and fear. To accomplish this, to accomplish this, it applies to a certain trick. Damn, I need more light, bro.
Hmm.
Hold, just hold it up. Just hold it up to the book. just hold it. I don't know. Oh, okay. Appreciate it. All right, let's continue. The ego, however, proceeds. I know. Why did you blow out the candle, bro?
I was, I would have burned myself the way I was holding it. But
All
I
right.
put it down.
The ego, however, proceeds in exactly the opposite way. It registers the need for love and safety, but it aims at answering this need without facing inner darkness and fear. Wow, so the ego is a coward. Your ego is cowardly. It doesn't want to face things head on. It wants to have its cake and eat it too. The ego is poison. Again, the ego is truly Satan. It truly is. To accomplish this, it applies a certain trick. It transforms the need for love into the need for approval and recognition from other people. Wow. See? It transforms your idea of what love is. Love is not approval and recognition, but it transforms itself into that. It tricks you into believing this, but it's not. Wow. Let me see. Once you think that to be loved is to be admired for your achievements, you don't need to go inside for love anymore. You simply have to work harder. In this way, the ego strives to keep a lid on the pan of fear. Dang, man. This woman is this is straight bars, bro. Are you kidding me?
It's a mixtape.
It's a mixtape for real, bro. She dropped a crazy mixtape. Your original longing for love and blissful unity has now become distorted into the desire for recognition. You're constantly looking for outside validation, which provides for some temporary reassurance. Like, bro, I want to get to that point where someone like maliciously tries to, you know, I don't know, step on my Jordans. I don't even own Jordans, but a black person reference. They step on my J's, right? And a person with ego is going to be like, oh, this dude think I'm a P, right? Let me go beat his butt. Let me go prove how much of a man I am. That's what a person with ego does. But I'm trying to get to the point where I'm just like, well, I hope that made you feel better. And I walk away. I'm trying to be at that point. If you could do that, you are a bad dude. Someone could do something that you is intentionally harming you. They know. They don't. They're trying to show that they don't respect you because they're looking for validation, right? And you pretty much are able to do that. You're a bad dude, man. That's power. That's true power. For real, that's true power. I'm trying to get to that point pretty much. Your consciousness is essentially focused on the outer world. You rely on other people's judgments, and you are very edgy about what people think of you. That is highly important to you, since your self esteem depends on it. In fact, your sense of self worth sinks lower and lower, since you are giving your power away to outside forces who judge you for your outside performances, not for your true being. We really cannot think like the number one thing, never doubt yourself. And anyone who tries to make you doubt yourself is also a person who struggles with self-esteem issues. Someone with self-esteem, they will never try to get you to doubt yourself. They will try to say, hey, like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? But they won't act like you're wrong off rip. Those are people who are very insecure, where they try to act like you're just wrong. Don't trust them, bro. They got Black Air Force One energy.
Hey,
What's
do
up?
you mind if I play this? Mayan Hazel Mayan Harmony Flute?
Uh, let's give it a shot.
One note is 1 minute long. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
I just
Ego
wanna-
is supposed to help you from being deceived and taken advantage of, but if you cross a certain line, it becomes egotistical. Hmm.
What did you just say?
I'm gonna say it again. Maybe you could think about it while I read. Ego is supposed to help you from being deceived and taken advantage of. Do you does it help you from being deceived and taken advantage of?
With ego?
Yeah.
Well, I would say it's almost like that sense of what you're able to accept and what you're not. And there is a good form of ego for yourself, and also like a bad form of ego. So if someone is like basically, you know how you're not about, like, for example, I guess someone is like the LGBT or whatever, right?
Why would you use that
I don't
example?
know. Like, I have no idea. I'm just like, or let's just say it's a woman on your channel, right, or something like that. I don't know. Like someone who is trying to come into your life or whatever. Like they're trying to be like, well, I follow this, and if you don't follow this, then I can't be around you, sort of thing. You can have that sort of respect for yourself. Be like, well, I'm not even gonna deal with that. Like, you know how you have standards for yourself? I'm just guessing that's what it means. Like, it's standards for yourself. You know?
Okay, it's just standards. But you could have standards with having an ego though. Like it
What do
could
you
just be
mean?
real objective. Like if I don't if pretty much if I say, hey, the most high didn't make me to get disrespected, so I'm just not gonna do that. But have a
Mm-hmm.
good day. Like you don't have to have an ego to say that. Let me see.
Mm.
I have to think about that, bro. I appreciate that. I have to really think about
Maybe it's the wording.
that. Black Force One energy. Basically, it's a security blanket from being a simp. Oh,
That's what
okay,
I was
okay,
thinking.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
know what
like,
you mean now. Okay,
yeah, like
so
standards.
just standards.
Yeah.
Is that ego though?
Kinda, it
Is
is.
it?
It's almost like, I don't know. Let me look at what ego is to, like, get a better understanding instead of just saying, let me see.
I appreciate that, bro. Something else to think about. When you're able to walk away from a situation, it's because that person to come to you to see what they've done. The more you're able to diffuse your own ego, you put the ball in that person's court. Oh man, so much wisdom
Mm.
being passed around. I'm so blessed. Wow. Did you guys hear that? When you're able to walk away from a situation, it causes that person to come to you and see what they've done. The more you're able to diffuse your own ego, you put the ball in that person's court. Yeah, because like I don't have to carry someone else's garbage. Like someone is coming to pretty much dump their garbage on me, like a big garbage cup. They just had a bad day, and now they just want to yell at me, right? Now I don't have to take their garbage and dump it on them. I literally can say nothing and walk away.
Okay, so
you know.
I got these. A definition said an inflated feeling of pride in your superiority to others. And another is your consciousness of your own identity. Um, it's like your conscious mind. And it's almost like, like, for
Oh,
example, like, let's say I don't want a man who, um,
it's short.
no, who, like, just be sleeping around, right?
You're
Let's
right.
just say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I'm not gonna, like, for example, for you, like, I'm not gonna be with no baby moms. Like, that's something that you can have for yourself, and that's just having your own sense of, like,
Mm-hmm.
not lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't want to be with an African person, a guy or something. Like, I wouldn't
Yo,
want to be with
you
a
telling you being real honest.
no, or like, I'm just saying, like, just based off of spirit. I'm just saying it, like, off top. I'm not even actually elaborating or anything. But I don't know, like,
Okay.
I think it's just kind of standards for
um.
yourself.
No, I agree with that. Now it makes sense.
I
I
think.
understand. I understand.
For sure.
Now, you said two different things, and it sounded like it was just like a good ego and a bad ego,
It's
kind of.
inflated feelings of pride in your superiority to
Right.
others. So,
And an inflated feeling of pride in your superiority to others.
mm-hmm.
That would be like a bad ego. But
Yeah.
as far as like what your identity is, like if I'm saying, listen, I'm an Israelite. I'm not getting taught by no damn Gentiles.
Yeah, something like
That's
that.
ego,
Like that's what
but
I
that's good
mean.
ego.
But you're not looking down. Like I wouldn't be looking down on someone. Like let's say
Right.
I
I'm
don't
not
want to
looking down
be,
on
I want to
Gentiles.
be
Like,
with a person, or I don't want to be around a person,
mm-hmm.
or something like that, or just something they do that I just don't agree with, and that's
Right.
fine. You could just like kind of be honest and be like, well, I just don't agree with that. Not everyone's gonna agree with you. Not everyone's gonna like you. It's not a big deal. It's just as long as you don't try to make them feel bad about themselves and put them down
Right.
and make yourself higher.
Yo, bro, I appreciate you sharing that because that definitely added some more what is the word? Detail. It made the
Context.
context, it made this more cerebral. So I appreciate you saying that. It was able to help me articulate what the word ego really means. Made us look it up too. Thank you. Um Substance. That's the word. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Ego is basically your carnal self. That is the seven deadly sins. Okay, okay. Man, this brother is really like he's going in,
Ego
man.
can also be how you view yourself, how you like, for example, with the root chakra, a distortion in the root chakra is you not like you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't like your self image.
Right. No, that's true. That distortion of the root chakra, which comes from your security, which is tied to your ego, which is tied to
Yeah.
your identity. Yes.
And also the solar plexus. I'm telling you, the solar plexus, it has to be the most important chakra. Like, because
It's self confidence.
it's not about just self confidence. Like literally, when it talks about your own body, if the things that you eat and the things that you put in your body, if your digestion is really good, every single other part of your body works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Think
It's true.
about that.
No, it's
You wouldn't
true.
have no type of disease.
Mm-hmm. If your digestion is A1,
That
your whole
means,
body's
but
A1.
what
It's
does that
true.
mean though? That brings discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is, that solar plexus thing? That includes like stuff of how of how you eat. If you eat slow, because if you eat slow, you have your, little bits instead of like big bits in your stomach and stuff.
Right.
If you chew your food, like
Right.
all that brings discipline and some mindset. So the solar plexus, I'm telling you, it's the most important. It helps your root chakra, your intestine down there,
Mm-hmm.
like all that.
It's very true. It keeps everything together. It's the chakra
It's
in the middle.
directly connected to your mind, and your mind is connected to your throat chakra
Mm-hmm.
because you speak your mind. You know.
Dang. My sister dropping some heat right now.
It's just
This is
true.
the whole. This is the Holy Spirit talking. Insight. Yeah, that's another word. Increase your vibrations, which will. What the?
Hmm? What happened?
Oh, I'm
What
sorry.
happened?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um,
Oh,
fuck, bro. Type it again. I'm sorry. I accidentally deleted it. Press the wrong dang button. Increase your vibrations, which will increase your light. It's almost like being telepathic. Okay. Yeah. Write that other message that you said, bro. I accidentally deleted it, bro. Oh my gosh. Because this phone is acting up. He's like
my
making
phone
me
was acting up
press
too.
like things I'm not trying to press. Turn it down a bit.
Okay. You like that song?
Yeah, it's tight.
I just pressed
I
on
just wanted something that
accident.
was drony.
I pressed on accidentally.
Okay.
Let me go downstairs.
I think you said something like the wisdom comes from the Most High, or something like that. Anyway, mm, this is highly important for you since your self-esteem depends on it. In fact, your sense of self-worth sinks lower and lower since you are giving your power away to outside forces who judge you for your outside performances, not for your true being. Why would you care about what someone else thinks of you if they don't even know who you are? They only know who you are on the outside. They only know the face that you put on the outside, right? So it's hard. It doesn't make sense to get offended by the opinions of a stranger. They don't mean anything, right? It's crazy when you think about it. It's basically concurring yourself, which will bring you to a Christ-like perspective. concurring yourself. What do you mean by concurring yourself? Explain if you don't mind. Page 72. Oh, conquering. Okay. I was wondering. No, yes, conquering yourself indeed. You have to conquer your flesh, like Paul said. Meanwhile, the deep-seated sense of abandonment and loneliness is not alleviated. It actually gets worse since you refuse to look at it. That which you don't want to look at becomes your shadow side. Fear, anger, and negativity can roam there and influence you, intensified by the refusal to go within. The ego can be very stubborn when it comes to suppressing certain doubts, hunches, and feelings. It will not release control easily. What you perceive as evil in your world is always the result of clinging to personal power. It is the refusal to give up control and accept inner fear and darkness. Wow. Judge not the flesh, but the spirit. You can't tell from flesh. I know some wicked heathens of all colors. I know a lot too. You know, I've met like a lot of different people, man. Like, it's funny because uh when I went to my professor's funeral, so-called white lady, I cried like a baby at her funeral. I actually really loved that person as a person. She was such a sweet person. So-called white lady. With how I talk about quote unquote white people on my channel, you wouldn't think that I would do that, right? But again, I view people as individuals at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it is all about who's actually in front of me. We can research all we want, but does your spirit bear witness to someone else's? That's what it's really about. The first step to enlightenment is surrendering to what is. Enlightenment means that you allow all aspects of your being into the light of your consciousness. Enlightenment does not mean you are fully conscious of everything within you, but that you are willing to face every aspect consciously, meaning you accept all parts of yourself, parts that you like and don't like, right? Like, I don't have to get on a live stream without combing my hair or putting on a filter in order for me to do it, right? I wasn't about to do that. I was just like, listen, I better do it now. If they think I look crusty, so what? Who cares? Who cares? I don't care. That's what it really means. Like, you have to accept your full self. You really do. And when you do, you might get surprised. You might get surprised. I used to always say this as a little joke, to my homies who really cared a lot about like their appearance, and they're so interested in a woman's attention. So they were just like, oh, if you gotta always like be looking in a certain way, or else like girls won't look your way. Listen, man, that's not even true, bro. Everyone, not just women, but everyone likes confidence, because almost no one truly has confidence. And all confidence is self-acceptance. When you accept yourself, you just become a likable person. It's all about accepting your full self, all facets of yourself. Judge not a man by his outer appearance. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Because that does not tell you anything, right? Judge by his character. Now, that isn't to say that people aren't going to judge people at all by their outer appearance, because, and maybe it's just because I just have that researcher mindset to where I collect data, right? But I don't judge someone off of that. Like, I'm not using that to say, well, let me figure this person out. I'm like, no, it's just a statement. Okay, this person, they took a long time to prepare. when they left the house, this person didn't. But I'm not judging them, you know. They're cool. Shalom, brother. How are things going? Haven't seen a live video from you in a while. Hey, thank you for stopping by, sister. I don't know. Things are cool. I'm doing well. Just put in my 2 week notice for my second job. So I'm just gonna work one. I'm just gonna work that one. So I'm a lot happier now. I'm gonna have a lot more time. So I'm feeling good. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I can't wait to start doing more things. Now let's continue. The inner darkness, that sense of abandonment in the depths of your soul that that you all fear so much, is temporary. This ego stage is just one step in a large development and unfolding of consciousness. Individual consciousness, the birth of you as a separate soul, goes together with the experience of being left alone, of being separated from your mother/father. It is comparable to the trauma of birth in your physical world. In the womb, the baby experiences an oceanic sense of oneness with the mother. When it is born, it becomes a unity into itself. Because of this birth trauma, speaking now of birth of the soul takes with itself a sense of being torn apart. It had to be it had to part with everything it took for granted. Wow, so there's a sense of some sort of traumatic experience that happens when you come out the womb. Like you're in this warm area and you're pretty much like I don't know, rushed into this light. You have this old Jewish dude touching up on you, and you're just crying. It's just not a good feeling, man. Now the Hopi, this is why they have their births. They have them in a dark place, and they don't bring out their child into a certain amount of days. Truly, man, I am a fanboy of the Hopi, bro. Y'all know me, man. I am a fanboy of the Hopi and how they do things. They do things in a lot of righteousness. Even how they birth their children, how they birth their infants. Um, it's a beautiful thing because they're really trying to make sure that their child experiences the least amount of trauma as possible. They guard their children. They nurture them just like they guard their corn and nurture it. Very wise people. Um, Also, I believe ego is deceitful because it operates off of at least information as what off uh as least information as possible. What do you mean by that? I'm trying to like conceptualize like what's the correct word. That's why I keep pausing so much. I'm like, wait, what did he meant to say? What do you mean to say? And how you view and how you expect to be viewed. It operates off of how you are viewed and how you expect to be viewed, and it operates on the least amount of information as possible. Ah, it's hurting my head, man. This is too hard for me. I have to think about that. I wish my sister was here. I'd have her like bounce some ideas off. I have to come back to that. It's hurting my head thinking about it. Um, Brother, I saw you post something the other day with a lot of names. What was that about? Um, oh, you're talking about the quote unquote Air Kadeshoy or the Waka. Yeah, like I pretty much rewrote them in the Quechua language. You know, that's pretty much what I did. You know, because again, I don't trust that Hebrew. Like that's not if that's not the land, right? Then I'm not going to speak their language. I'm going to speak the language of my people over here. Same way how I'm going to eat the food of my people. I'm going to wear the clothes of my people. I'm also going to speak the language of my people. So that's what it was about. I was reposting those names in that language. Brother, how is our little princess? She's doing well. She's doing well. That's all I have to say. She's doing well. No problem, brother. Just saying that when we view others, assume you have no context as to why they are. All you have is that moment. Oh my gosh, bro. That is, man, we gotta, like, I wish I could pin that, bro. I wish I could pin that. I have to read it again. Let me just read it again. Maybe that'll that will do just as well. No problem, brother. Just saying that when we view others, assume you have no context as to why they are. All you have is that moment. That is something we all have to practice, man. It even says that in ancient grandmothers, that don't jump to conclusions about people. Always try to collect more information. You don't know what's going behind the scenes, right? You can't assume that you're the problem. Can't or start acting all insecure, like, oh, like what did I do? Or you're treating me unfairly. Maybe the person's just having a bad day, bro. Like, you don't need an answer to everything. You don't need one. You shouldn't look for one. You'll be a lot more happy focusing on yourself. Truly, man. That was so refreshing. That was so refreshing. Thank you. Dang, that felt good. Okay, let's continue. The ego can be very stubborn when it comes to suppressing certain doubts, hunches, and feelings. It will not release control easily. What you perceive as evil in your world is always the result of clinging to personal power. It is the refusal to give up control and accept interfere in darkness. The first step to enlightenment is surrendering to what is. Enlightenment means that you allow all aspects of your being into the light of your consciousness. Enlightenment does not mean you are fully conscious of everything within you, but that you are willing to face every aspect consciously. Enlightenment equals love. Love means that you accept yourself as you are. Inner darkness, that sense of abandonment in the depths of your soul that you all fear so much, is temporary. This ego stage is just one step in a large development and unfolding consciousness. In the stage, the first leap is taken towards an individualized divine consciousness. The birth of individual consciousness, the birth of you as a separate soul, goes together. Oh, I already read all this. I'm absolutely tripping, bro. Bro, I must be drunk. What the hell is wrong with me? I've read the whole page. Let me just read some comments. I got a Hoover. What's a Hoover? Like a vacuum? That was very refreshing. Hey, I'm glad to help. Semiyai, everyone. What does that mean? I've heard that before. But may peace be with you as well. Okay. Oh, right. We're talking about the Hopi, and then I got lost, and now we're here. Okay. The newborn soul longs for a return to semi-consciousness state of oneness from which it came and which it considers to be its home. Because this is impossible, the soul experiences great fear and feelings of desolation and doubt. This inner pain and disorientation will gradually form the breeding ground for the ego's seizure and power. The soul has to deal with the fear and the pain, and the ego promises to provide a solution. And this is pretty much what we constantly try to do with infants. We try to replicate the womb that they just came out of. That warm coziness. We try to give them these warm cozy clothing, right? To replicate where they just came from. The safety and security. It means hello. Oh, hello to you too. Ayanchu. That's what hello means in Quechua. Okay. The soul has to deal with the fear and the pain, and the ego promises to provide a solution. The ego holds up the prospect of power and control to the soul's consciousness. The soul, feeling powerless and lost, gives in and puts the ego in command. Oh my gosh, bro. I'm going to read this again. The ego holds up the prospect of power and control, and the soul consciousness. The soul, feeling powerless and lost, gives in and puts the ego in command. If I had, where are you, man? Where's my sister? Oh man, I I would have just gotten this precept and read it to you guys. Maybe she comes up and I remember. I'll get it. It's in Brother of Jared, and it's actually in the first chapter. It's in words, and it goes over how Semihaza pretty much got the different spirits to go over to his side. He convinced them, right? He was able to pretty much to convince those like different elements who were wishy-washy, right? He was able to convince them over to his side, and he did it through empty promises. So I like you'll be worshipped by everybody. You'll be above everybody, and then you might be close to where I am. That's how he did things. He did it with empty promises. He's a snake oil salesman. And that's exactly what the ego does to your soul. It promises you things that it can't give you. And the soul accepts it because it's weak. You know, it's in a destitute state. Right? It's a big lie. It's a big lie. And he gets you wrapped around his finger, right? And then he reels you in. That's why he's always putting you in these situations to where you have no, like, it's seemingly nowhere else to turn to but him, when you have the Messiah in a different direction. But he tries to get you not looking in that way. He's like, this is your only option, right? Right? And that's what he does. He'll say, he'll you know what he'll do? He'll say, oh, see, no one wants to hire you. You know, you're just a black person, right? They don't hire black people. Now you have a criminal record. They don't want to hire you. You have to sell drugs. You have to do it. That's how he gets you. I've been waiting for you. Where'd you go? You abandoned me. Could you get Brother of Jared if it's around? If it's not, just don't worry about it.
Okay.
That's how he became the father of lies. Yeah, that is how he became the father of lies. He promised all these different spirits all this different stuff, and they believed him. Right? They believed him. And honestly, the Most High Spirit, the Holy Spirit, is going to call out to you when you're going through stuff like this. You know, the mother, she is going to call out to you and say, don't go with him. Now, if you choose, why? If you choose to go with Satan, then that's where you were meant to go. That's ultimately what it comes down to. I'm turning to Brother Jared right now. And it came to pass that as new days dawned, all could behold his many colors, and they shone forth from him. So Satan, he had an outside appearance, right? A colorful outside exterior, but he's no substance. He's all talk, no substance. And changed with the movement of the light of God. And after a while, the rock stranger spoke to them all, and I could feel that in his heart he felt unsure of himself. So you can't really pay attention to these people, man. They don't even know what they're talking about. Where they talk all this big game and stuff like that. They don't even know what they're talking about. They mad insecure inside. They don't even, when you listening to them. Like, seriously. Give you an example. That dude, Kevin Samuels. He talks a big game about how, oh, like, you know, men need to be like this, women need to be like this. And this dude got a damn man in his bed, bro. You got to be careful about who you listening to, bro. Like, that stuff is crazy to me. That's crazy. That's madness. Oh my gosh. Taking dating advice from this dude, and you don't even know. And he's acting, and he talks with a real, like, confidence. Like, Like, what? He's talking with so much confidence. It don't make sense, bro. Why is he talking with so much confidence? But this is what Satan does, bro. This is the spirit. This is his same spirit. He talks with this bluffing tone, like, well, I mean, you're a single baby mama. Wait, what would you know? Do you not know me? Like, do you know who I am? Like, I did this and that and this and that. Like, what? Be careful who you're listening to, man. And it's the same thing goes with here. You got to be careful because what it comes down to, again, is how, like, what you really want to follow. Satan will always attack you at this level because it's your weakest point. He'll attack you when you're at your weakest. He attacked Aki when he was at his weakest. Excuse me. When, Aki had nothing. Everyone pretty much followed Ziklag instead of him. We went over this a few months ago, right? We and Satan came to him when he had quote unquote nothing, when he only had 2 old women following him, right? Everyone else was following Ziklag, and that's when Satan came and said, "You're wicked as hell. Like, see, everyone left you because you're wicked. You just need to follow Ziklag and shut up." Right? Came to him in a bad dream, saying, I came as an angel from the Most High, right? And in Aki's weakest point, he said, "Listen, I'm not listening to you. Leave me alone." That's strength. And this is what Satan does. He comes to you at your weakest point. He convinces you into believing that you're something that you're not. Then he attacks. What are you going to do at that point? That determines who you are. That determines what side you're on, is which side that you go to. Well, how should I say this? Because you can repent from that. That's happened to everybody before. But what side do you stay on? That's a better thing to say. Because with these, this is not really the most 100% example. Because with the fallen, once they made their decision, they made their decision. With us, we have until the clock dings at midnight as far as how long we have before we make our decision. We're constantly flipping back and forth between righteousness and wickedness. Whether you know it or not, it's actually a constant flip with the decisions that you make, with the thoughts that you think. It's a constant flip. It's a constant battle. Where do you end? That's what matters. And how long did you spend on the side of righteousness versus wickedness? That also plays a part. Y'all are saying a lot of comments, damn. So many of these empty oil salesmen around sell you a pipe dream. Yep. You can't listen to them. You can't. You just got to remember what was the dream that the Most High gave you. Don't listen to Satan's dreams. I've met so many people who listen to this dude, man. It's so crazy to me. I've seen people with such high potentials throw it all away because of insecurity. It's so sad. It makes me so sad. It really does. Never listened to him or paid attention. I just shake my head at the female who gave him attention or their time. Yeah. He likes to behave like he's high valued man. What a joke. Listen, that dude didn't look like a high value man. That's all I gotta say. He keeps setting the standard based of status or material things. Well, yeah. And people believe him because they don't know anything. They don't have that self-confidence. Like what my sister said, the solar plexus is very important because it takes discipline, right? But discipline comes from some sort of confidence in you to know that you could do it. Discipline is like willpower just really comes from, I know I can do this, which is confidence, which is being sure about yourself, is accepting yourself. When you say that I can't do this, you're already putting yourself down. You're already saying, well, this is something that I can't do. You don't need to do that. You don't know if you can do it or not. If you don't want to do something, that's a different thing. Like, well, I don't want to do this, but I can do this. Well, that's cool, right? At least you're being honest with yourself. But once you say, I can't do something, no. If you're saying I'm not good at something, it's not my style, I don't really want to do it, okay, that's okay, because at least you're being honest. But you can't. No, don't ever say that. Man, you just finding out. Listen, if a dude taking photos like I can't even replicate. I'm not gonna do it. Just be quiet. I had to. I play too much, bro. I try to make serious live streams and stuff. I had to say that today Satan got out of this house. All praises to the Most High. Man, get him the hell out that house, man. You talk. You have to call him out. When you call him out, you will see people freeze, and they'll be like, "Oh," because they know that they're doing something wrong, and they like their own insecurity is kind of like guiding them into doing something that they shouldn't be doing. So when you call it out, they're just like, "Oh," right? You could see like a change in their face because it's just like they wanted something to tell them otherwise. Let me continue reading this. And he felt a little afraid and insecure by his travels suddenly coming to an end, as he burst forth into a world that was unknown to him. And I beheld as he felt inferior and spoke with a bluffing tone. And he said, I am better than you all. I am a traveler and I have wandered the far reaches of creation. My name is Semihaza, which means my name has seen. For I have seen the wonders that lie beyond. But who are you? You have always just lain here upon this hillside. My mother is a comet and she travels whithersoever she chooses, and has no fixed course like the lowly sun and stars and heavenly bodies. I am beautiful and colored with iridescence, but you are plain, old, brown, and gray rocks, and your mother is an old, broken down mountain, right? And it came to pass that all those that were before him were embarrassed at his haughtiness, and they were ashamed before the presence of the great, of the holy great one. And at first, they bro, I'm chopping this up. And at the first, had they had legs, they would have fled from before him, as did Kawa. But as time passed, some of the younger rocks began to desire to hear the wonders of his travels, and they were attracted to his talk and desired to be associated with his presence. And it's not necessarily about age, bro. It's about maturity. How mature are you in this walk? How much do you really want to please the Most High? How much do you want to follow your order, your created purpose? What were you sent to do, right? That's what it comes down to. What it comes down to is, do you want to be in order? Do you like the order that the Most High gave you? The sun, she rises up and goes down. If I remember the name, it's Achikia or Achikaya. What?
I like this song.
Oh, you do? Yes. So she rises and she falls at the same pace or at a similar pace or at a predicted pace every single day. She does not move. She does not go elsewhere, right? She does her job, right? She does not hate her role. She loves her role. She loves being consistent. The water is not trying to say, hey, I want to be like the sun. I'm going to jump up and start shining in the air. That's out of order. So why do we do certain things like that? Right? Why do men want to all of a sudden all be the Messiah? They want to be the Son of the Most High. They want to be worshipped. Why do women want to be men? They want the same power as men. All this is not order. You have to be in order. You must. If there's no order, then there's nothing. The Most High loves order. Who wants advice from someone with no filter that turned his ass into a cookie?
What? Who turned?
I don't even want to know.
What is he talking about?
Samuels.
What does he mean? Is that like another phrase?
Don't ask me. I don't know.
He said he fruity?
I don't know. I don't really care. Wait a minute. That sounds like stars and the universe that you're describing. I'm describing everything. I'm describing all of the elements, right? They stay in their order. Everyone has to stay in their order. Because if there's no order, what is there? If we could be just as consistent as the sun, the Most High will trust us with a lot more. right? He loves consistency. He loves order. He does, because we are constantly trying to help Matzah out, the Messiah. His job is a lot more present, right? He deals in the present more so than anything else. He's constantly trying to help us. He's constantly trying to maneuver things around, you know? So, okay, let's go back to the other book. See, whoa, let me try to say that word. Sikinik, is that what is that, is that the Inuit word for son or something of the sort? Right, and Semihaza is a son who did not like order and sought to be like the Most High. Thank you. Thank you. The spirit of not wanting to be in order is the spirit of Semihaza. What?
I was gonna say something.
What's up?
Because I realized when he said about God to our first parents,
Mm-hmm.
um, when he said like, you guys are a god, or do you guys, to become a god, to further yourselves to become a god, that you have to, that he's kind of, the Most High is deceiving them, that they have a lot of potential, stuff like that. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about? What he was actually doing was making them reject their own created purpose and take on the Most High's created purpose. You know?
Like he tried to
Yeah,
do.
exactly.
And
So
that's what he
that's
tries to get
interesting.
everyone to do. He tries to get everyone to usurp authority. He hates order. Do not be like him. You have to be very humble in your walk. You have to understand, hey, if the Father loves me, he's not going to give me a bad role. Like I was listening, I'm listening to women these days, and honestly they're Babylonian women to me, but they're still women, they're still sisters. So I feel for them, but they're out of damn order. Where they talk when and what it comes down to is how they view their role in the first place. They think that being a housewife and cooking and cleaning is something that's lowly. And I'm looking at them like, are you insane? If you actually read the books of remembrance, you'll realize that that's a superpower. It's a protection. When I said to that woman, you need to worry about pulling something hot out of an oven, I was being dead serious because it's actually a protection from wickedness. It's a protection. That's something that only women can do. My big hairy ass pulling something hot out of an oven is not protection.
I don't think of you in an apron.
Yeah, I was me in an apron. I will never wear an apron. But yes, me doing that is not a protection to anybody. It's not. Only women can do that. So we need women doing that because if they don't, then you know what? Where's Haggai? Maybe they need to understand some context. Can you give me Haggai?
Is that that's that guy?
Everyone needs to be in order because when we're not in order, that's when things get really jacked up. Let me see. Yes, brother. My daughter says I've been spending too much time listening to the brothers on YouTube and praying to the Most High. I need to get active. I told her this is what makes me happy. Wow. Listen, I've done the same thing where I feel like I spent too much time, watching other people's stuff instead of me just studying, right? And people have very, very good information. Like I'd love to just sit down and collect information and things of that sort, but I don't have the time to do that, you know. What I'm doing with this stuff, man, you know, I don't know. I have my lane, you know what I mean? People don't watch every single last one of my videos, right? It's cool. Order serves eternity. Constant change. Chaos breeds decay, death. Oh my gosh. Too much heat. Let's read that again. You don't know where it is? Um,
You had two Melchizedeks in there when I was looking for it.
I asked for Haggai, not Melchizedek.
No, I know, but I just remarked that. I don't know where Haggai is.
Okay, it's cool. Um, but anyway, I can't read it to you, but it's one of the conditions. I forgot which condition it was, but it's a protection from like sexual abuse. Do you know that cooking fire, women pulling something hot out of an oven is a protection? from sexual abuse. So that's why Satan is attacking it so hard. That's why he's taking the woman out of the kitchen, because again, that's her power. If you as a woman, you have all this maternal energy, right? You want to protect children, you love children. That's their protection. Literally, like, I'm being dead serious. You're protecting all the children around the world every time. Um, you're like, you make food pretty much with some sort of by cooking. So Satan hates order. He hates order. That's why he attacks certain things. Um, I read from a post that there are 12 hours a day and it's not 24 hours a day. Otherwise, we wouldn't give our oppressors 8 hours of our day. Well, time is based on sunlight. The entire day, like, if we're going like 7 days a week, right? It would be 24 hours and a whole day, but I can't even explain it, bro. Because it says in the book of remembrance that the calendar, how the Most High views time, is based on the sun. So we're supposed to do all of our righteous acts during the sun, and we're supposed to rest during the evening at night, pretty much. But we're supposed to work at day towards the Most High, right? We're supposed to do our stuff to Him during that time. And that's why, yes, they've taken 8 hours of our daylight, of our daytime. And that's why I actually quit my second job, because I'm just like, with my first job, I could finish it early and I could do what I want for the rest of the day. With my second one, they literally got me there handcuffed to a damn computer for 8 hours. I'm like, nah, I can't do this, bro. I cannot do this. I need to get outside. In other words, he became the devil or Satan, right? Yes, indeed. It's true. Yes, sir, it is. Shalom, beautiful sister. Are you here to assist your brother and give a word or two?
What she want me to say?
No, she just said that message. She just
Yeah.
Yeah, she's here as the joiner of the session, right? Doing what she does best. What? Why are you blushing?
I didn't. No, you said doing what I do best, and I was drawing, so I didn't want you to say nothing.
I was even talking about that.
Yeah.
That's that insecurity I'm talking about.
It wasn't. I just didn't want you to tell my business for some reason.
You gotta accept your whole self. If you're drawn, it's okay. All right, let's continue. Prospect of power and control to the soul consciousness. The soul, feeling powerless and lost, gives in and puts the ego in command. The ego is that part of the soul which is oriented towards the material, external world. In essence, the ego is the soul's instrument for manifesting itself as a physical being within time and space. The ego provides consciousness with focus. It makes consciousness specific instead of oceanic, here and now, instead of all over the place. The ego translates inner impulses into specific material form. It is part of you which bridges the gap between the non physical spiritual part of you and the physical part. For the soul, as a non physical spiritual being, it is quite unnatural to be fixated in time and space. The soul is essentially independent of any material form. When you have dreams of flying around, you are contacting this independent and free part of yourself. The ego, on the other hand, binds and fixates. It enables you to function in physical reality. As such, the ego plays a very valuable role that has nothing to do with good or bad. When it operates in a balanced situation, the ego is a neutral and indispensable tool for the soul who dwells on earth in a physical body. However, when the ego starts to rule soul consciousness instead of functioning on as its tool, the soul gets out of balance. So this kind of goes back to what the brother was saying earlier, like the ego, it stops you from having low self-respect. The ego by itself is needed because it pretty much gives you a sense of identity, right? It lets you know okay, these are my boundaries and I'm not going to cross them, right? So it's the difference between me saying, okay, I'm not getting taught by Gentiles, right? That's my ego, that's my self-identity. But if I intertwine that with my soul, then I'm going to start cursing out Gentiles and saying, like, God doesn't love you and you're going to hell. That's the difference. You can have a healthy amount of ego and say, this is my spot. I'm not moving from my spot. I belong here. This is my birthright. Right? Nice. A true sister indeed, looking up to her brother and learning.
True, he is a wise man.
Why you say it so quiet? Camps. Sadly, the camp brothers, they're full of ego because they have to look within instead of looking outside. In actuality, they're actually looking for validation from the Gentiles without really knowing that they are. It's quite ironic. It's a sad thing. I was gonna mention it, but my phone it died in that video that I did. But yeah, they're looking for validation. That's why they will say anything to anybody because they they want that discord. They want to hurt them like they were hurt, right? Instead of looking back in yourself and saying, you know what, we just messed up as a people. That's the much more healthy way to do things, right? Oh, I lost my spot. It enables you to function in physical reality. As such, the ego plays a very vulnerable role that has nothing to do with good or bad. When it operates in a balanced situation, the ego is a neutral, indispensable tool for the soul who dwells on earth in a physical body. Oh, so it pretty much, the ego is all physical, right? It's needed because it pretty much maintains your physical body. But when your soul is being controlled by your physical um guide, then you're going to be imbalanced. That makes a lot of sense. Wow, it's very well said. However, when the ego starts to rule soul consciousness instead of functioning as its tool, the soul gets out of balance. When the ego dictates to the soul, that is the hallmark of ego based consciousness, the ego will not simply translate inner impulses into material form, but it will control and selectively suppress those impulses. The ego then presents you with a distorted image of reality. The unbalanced ego is always in pursuit of power and control, and it will interpret all facts as positive or negative in this light. It is quite instructive to uncover your own power based control based motives in your daily goings about. Try to notice how often you want to bend things or people to your will, or if it is whoa, even if it is for a noble cause. How often do you get annoyed by things not going your way? It is important to realize that beneath the need for control is always a fear of losing control. So ask yourself, what is the risk of releasing control, of letting go, of the need for predictability? What is my deepest fear? This is so very deep, man. This is incredible stuff. And it's stuff I have to work on, admittedly. This stuff I definitely have to work on myself. The price you are now paying for keeping things under control is that your attitude to life is tense and restrained. When you dare to live from inner inspiration and only do what brings you joy, this will create a natural and true order in your life. You will feel relaxed and happy without the need to mold the flow of life. This is living without fear, living with full trust in what life will bring you. Can you do that? And it's not necessarily living with full trust of life, it's living with full trust of the Father because He's the one who ultimately guides your life, right? That's what it means. When you have true faith, then you don't try to get back at your enemies. When David said that the Most High hates an unjust weight, you truly believe that. You hold it in your heart and you say, you know what? He got me. I'm gonna just keep moving. If this person don't understand, then they don't have to. It is what it is. For a young soul, the pitfall of ego-based consciousness is nearly inevitable. The ego offers a way out of the problem of fear and abandonment. It shifts your attention from what there is on the inside to what can you get from the outside world. This is not a real solution to the problem, but it does seem to bring relief for a while. Exerting power and control over your surroundings may give you a temporary satisfaction or kick. There is a brief sense of being loved, admired, and respected. It soothes your pain for a while, but it is short-lived and you have to exert yourself again to stand out, to be even better, nicer, or more helpful. Because it's a black hole, it's something that's not going to be filled because you're looking for validation from people who are not going to give it to you and who don't need to give it to you. They don't owe you anything. Ultimately, please be aware that under the flag of the ego, you can be both sweet and nasty, both giving and taking, both dominant and subservient. That is given seemingly unselfishly is an unconscious call for attention, love, and recognition from the receiver of the gift. When you are always caring for and giving to others, you are simply hiding from yourself. Oh my gosh, bro.
And so when you're always caring and giving to others, and you're hiding from yourself.
That's so true, bro. Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, like that's something that I struggled with because I just noticed that if I could put it in an example, everyone likes turkey sandwiches, but no one likes to make turkey sandwiches. So everyone takes everyone else's sandwich. So my thing is, okay, well, maybe if I make one for everybody, maybe that they won't be as mean. And that's been the story of my life. But, I've really just come to terms with the fact that I don't have to make one for everyone. They're not my responsibility. And that's something that I probably developed from my childhood. You know, everyone has something, you know. Those brothers that are in the camp word gets old. And some are mind control, have no ambition or pride, selling lies and abuse, hate, and giving our people a bad rap. Sadly, and this all comes from their surplus of ego that they have acquired. They didn't heal in the right way. We need to worry about each other. You know, if you were really done that badly by the other nations, then you need to cry on each other's shoulders and stop trying to look to them to say sorry. No, we need to look to each other. We need to talk about it. That's how we heal. We're not going to heal by getting it from a group of people who didn't care in the first place. If we just kept things in-house, kept them inward, we'd be a lot better off. Now, I'm not saying that we'd still be perfect because they do a lot of things that they really should not be doing. They use people for merchandise. They develop these cults and they only want to stay in these certain books. Like you said, their word gets stale, because they've pretty much developed a whole system and they don't want to maneuver away from that system. It is what it is, man. So to understand what ego domination means, you do not necessarily have to think of cruel tyrants such as Hitler or Saddam Hussein. Keep it simple. Watch yourself in your daily life. The presence of ego domination can be categorized by the need to control things. And it could be anything, like any sort of control, like me trying to overcompensate for no one helping me, me over helping everyone else. That's me having a surplus of ego. It's true. I think I'm being a good person. I'm not. I'm just trying to pretty much cope for the lack of help that I feel like I'm getting. Instead of just living life. This stuff gets deep, bro. Oh. An example is that you want certain people to behave in particular ways. Oh my gosh, how many people do we know like that? People who want people to behave in particular ways, and when they don't, they're evil and they're wicked. Oh man. To make this happen, you display certain patterns of behavior. You are uh compliant,
Complacent?
complacent, bro. That's not the word. No.
Huh?
Bro, I'm tripping, bro.
Compliant.
Compliant. Oh, bro, I'm tripping, bro. Thank you. And sweet, for example. You are compliant and sweet, for example, and you try not to hurt someone's feelings ever. There is a need for control behind this behavior. Because I want you to love me, I will not go against you. Oh my gosh, bro. That's some real shit, bro. What?
Can you read that again?
Yeah, I'll read that again. You are compliant and sweet, for example, and you try not to hurt someone's feelings ever. There is a need for control behind this behavior. Because I want you to love me, I won't go against you. The line of thinking is based in fear. Go, he's calling. The line of thinking is based on fear. It is standing on your own. Fear of being rejected and abandoned. What appears to be sweet and nice is, in fact, a form of self-denial. This is the ego at work. As long as the ego governs your soul, you will need to feed yourself with the energy of others in order to feel good. You seem to have to deserve acceptance from other people. You have some authority outside of you. However, the world around you is not fixed or stable. You can never rely on the permanent adherence of whatever it is you rely on, be it spouse, boss, or parents. This is why you have to work all the time, being always on the lookout for portions of approval coming your way. This explains the tense and nervous state of mind that anyone stuck in the ego stage is permanently in. The ego cannot provide you with true love and self-esteem. The solution it offers for the trauma and abandonment is in fact a bottomless pit. The true mission of the young soul consciousness is to become the parent it has lost. Please be aware that the structure of earth life, meaning the process of starting out as a helpless baby and growing up to be a self-contained adult, often invites you to do precisely that. How often the key to real happiness in your lives lie in this, that you become your own father and mother. Thank you. And give to yourself the love and understanding you have missed and are missing from others. On the larger metaphysical level, we have been speaking of. This means come to the understanding that you are God, not one of his little lost sheep. This is the realization that will bring you home. This is the realization that will bring you to the heart of who you are, which is love and divine power. We all have a piece of the Most High in us. We're already home. We are already home. The end of the ego stage comes within sight when the soul realizes that it is repeating the same cycle of actions and thoughts over and over again. The ego loses its dominance when the soul grows tired and weary of struggling all the time for an ever elusive treasure. The soul then starts to suspect that the promises of the game it is in are false and that there is really nothing there for it to win. When the soul grows tired of trying and being on top of it all the time, it lets go of control a little. With less energy going out to controlling thoughts and behavior, an energetic space opens up, which allows for new and different experiences. At first, when you enter this stage, you may just feel very tired and empty inside. Things you deemed important before may appear entirely meaningless now. Also, fears may surface that have no clear or immediate causes. It may be vague fears of death or of losing your loved ones. Also, anger may come up with regard to situations in your job or your marriage. Everything that seemed self evident is now in doubt. That which ego based consciousness set out to prevent happens at last. Gradually, the lid is lifted from the pan, and all kinds of uncomfortable emotions and fears pop out and enter your consciousness, seeding doubt and confusion in your life. Until that moment, you were functioning largely on autopilot. Many thought and feeling patterns within you happened automatically. You let them pass by unquestioned. This gave unity and stability to your consciousness. However, when your consciousness grows and expands, your personality gets split in two. One part of you wants to hold on to the old ways. The other part of you questions these old ways and comforts you with uncomfortable feelings such as anger, fear, and doubt. Let me read some comments. Oh, you guys didn't say anything. I'm almost finished. I just want to finish reading this. I'm almost finished. The expansion of consciousness that occurs at the end of the ego stage is therefore often experienced as a spoil sport, an unwelcome intruder which spoils the game. This new awareness unsettles everything that seemed obvious before, and it awakens emotions within you that you don't know how to deal with. When you start to doubt ego-based patterns of thinking and doing, a whole new side of you enters your consciousness. It is part of you that loves truth instead of power. Living according to the dictates of the ego is very repressive. You are serving a little fearful dictator that aims at power and control, not just over your environment, but especially over you. Your spontaneous flow of feeling and to what the hell? What is this? Help me with this.
Where's the word? This?
Yeah.
Into.
Intuiting?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know what that means. Is restrained by this dictator. The ego does not like spontaneity so much. It holds back from freely expressing your feelings, since feelings and emotions are uncomfortable or uncontrollable and unpredictable, which is dangerous to the ego. The ego works with mask. And again, the ego is pretty much like a narcissist. It's Semihaza, it's Satan. That's what it is in essence. Your ego dictates to you be sweet and considerate to win people's sympathy. You will systematically suppress feelings of displeasure and anger within you if you start to doubt the viability, of this dictate. These suppressed emotions come up again at once. Feelings are not eliminated by being suppressed. They live on and gain in intensity the longer you suppress them. Once the soul experiences the emptiness and doubt that is so characteristic of the ending ego stage, it is possible to meet and face all the feelings and emotions that were hidden in the dark before. These pent-up emotions and feelings are the entrance gate to your greater self. By exploring what you truly feel instead of what you are supposed to feel, you restore your spontaneity and integrity. That part of you which is also called your inner child. Getting in touch with your true feelings and emotions sets you on the road to liberation. The transition to a heart-based consciousness has then begun. Fire chapter, man. Fire chapter. Nina chapter. Fuego chapter. And thus our mind is renewed and we become a new creation. The ego works with mass. I need to hear that. Indeed, because that's constantly what we're doing, especially if we're everyone has a mask when they go outside. Like, let's not get that twisted. Um, no one acts how they truly are because no one wants to get hurt by other people. They want to protect themselves from other people. They want to protect, their real selves. So yes, they walk around with different masks. But when you do it unknowingly, that's a different thing. Then that's a different beast and it's unhealthy for your spirit. You want to be yourself with yourself. You want to tell yourself the truth. You never want to lie to yourself. And to those who you trust, you don't want to lie to them. And if you're going to quote unquote lie to yourself, then know that you're lying to yourself. Don't live life not knowing that you're lying to yourself. That's a horrible existence to live. Because then you will live life and not even know who you are. You won't even know why you were sent here, what the Most High sent you to become, what He sent you to be. That's not a very luxurious existence. So that's pretty much about it, guys. I appreciate you guys showing up and spending some time with me and my sister. Um, for those who are into boxing, it's a great fight tonight. My man Terrence Bud Crawford, favorite boxer fighting tonight. Stay on for like 2 more minutes. When we are around strangers or in the workplace, your whole personality changes. That is a mask you are wearing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly. You're not going to show who you are, you know. It's not really healthy for you, but that's just the world that we're in. It would be a lot better if we lived in a place where we didn't have to have any sort of mask, right? I'll give you an example of anxiety taking over. Like my grandfather, he had a message that he had to relate to me just now. My sister, he pretty much told him like, listen, he's busy, right? And he just lectured the hell out of her for no reason because he's real anxious about everything, you know? It's a sad thing, man. It's a sad thing to be ruled by your ego. Because at that point, when you're at a certain age, it's just not going away. That's why the Messiah said you can't pour new wine into old bottles. When your ego, when you have it for too many years, it just becomes a part of you. It fuses with your soul. When you let it overtake your soul so much, you don't even know what your soul looks like. You can't even perceive the light. So yeah, ideally, we want to live in a society where we shouldn't even have any masks, where we could just literally be those little children who we are inside. We don't live in that place, but I truly do like I I, I want to get to that place. This is not the life that we're supposed to be living. No one, not even just, us as the people of the Most High, but no one should be living this life. And we should want this for everyone. Everyone can be themselves. If you're a caveman, then it's okay to be a caveman. As I've said before, like a lot of like some people, they just have too much stuff. Like they'd be a lot more happy rummaging in the woods and things of that sort. Truly, I might sound like sarcastic just a little bit though. I battle with this, trying harder every day to show forth truer light. Because if we mask, aren't we also masking Yah's glory and who we are? It's true. It's true. And that's honestly because the world hates the Most High. He hates. The world, pretty much the wicked, they hate the Most High. So when you represent Him, when you represent that inner pride that you have of Him, then they start to hate you because they're insecure and they've forgotten the Most High and they don't want to know Him. They don't want to serve Him. So they'll take out their frustrations on you. And because of that, because we're so outnumbered, that causes us to want to put on these different masks to protect ourselves. Right? It is what it is, man. But if anything, if you want to view it this way, you can say, well, you can listen, anything you want to do in righteousness, you can do. If you don't want to wear your mask anymore, if you don't want to succumb to this world, pray to the Father about it. Use discretion, use prudence, but don't use fear. If you don't want to wear a mask, you want to be yourself, you think that he won't help you do that? You think that he won't hear your prayer? Of course he will. You don't want to come to work saying, well, how do you do? You don't have to do that. You don't have to. So, anything else you guys want to ask before I get up out of here? Damn, I'm tearing up on that. I can't bear the burden of mass anymore. Oh, man. Come on, man. It's going to be okay, bro. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Make it your mission to work towards a world where no one has to wear masks. Because you know how you feel about, doing this, then, that you should know how other people feel. At least you know the Most High. There's other people who don't even know. They don't even know that they're wearing a mask. Like, how awful is that? You've come to the realization that, you've been wearing them. You can't be your true self. You feel like, closed in on. People, they feel closed in on. They don't even know what it is. They start lashing out, saying all this weird stuff. Like no one's ever gonna love you. Like, where'd that come from? Like, what the hell? Comes from them. The mask that they're wearing. They're wearing a mask and they don't know how to take it off. They don't even know we're wearing it. That's a much harder existence to live in. So we should make it our mission to help everyone else, or not help everyone else literally, but make a world to where people will feel inclined not to wear them. That's the world I want to live in. And anything short of that, it doesn't really mean anything to me. Like, that's just how I feel. I want to see little children grow up. I really want to see how we can be. Like, I want to see the endless potential of a child, how they grow up in full righteousness. What can they become? I've never seen it. I'm definitely not it. I'm not it. I try to be it, but I'm truly not it though, because both I was raised by narcissists or people who had big egos, and I'm just now unlearning it in the age of 26, still unlearning it currently. I'm talking about a child that grows up in a world where they don't feel like they have to wear any mask at all. I've never been able to see that. I'm a young man, but I'm not a young child. So I can't say that I'm an example of that in the least bit. And I truly want to see that world come to flourishing. Anything short of that is a failure to me. It just is. This message was for me today after discarding a narcissist. That's a beautiful day. Any day where you're discarding a narcissist is a beautiful day and deserves a celebration. Take all those people out of your life, man. Like, they don't deserve to be in your life. But yes, I every day, we should do what we can in our power to move towards a world where, our children, our little ones, whether it's your little one or my little one or whoever's little one, can grow up in a society, in a community, in a land, in a place where they can be themselves. They're not being judged by other people. They're not judging themselves. And they can just be free. That's true freedom. And that's the world that I want for all people. So if you want that, then something that we could pray about together each and every day. Every day before the sun rises, ask for it. How am I going to move towards making this world into a place where everyone can be free? So that's all I have for this week, guys. We'll touch base next week. We'll see how my list is going. And hopefully I finish soon. Same here. Yah is speaking to me as I am watching. I know he can help me through this burden. Tawada'ak. All praises to the Father. May peace be with you.